Let's start our first project. We're going to create a new project. You see that there. Over on the left, I have a bunch of recent projects. So once you've created a project, you'll see them over there. And now I want to get the correct template. We want that Windows Forms app.NET framework. You may not see that right away on the right-hand side. So if you type in Windows and search on that, you'll have several choices come up. We want the .NET framework, not .NET Core. We want the .NET framework, and make sure it says C# with that pound sign, not VB or Visual Basic. So I'll double click on that or click once on that and then click Next. And now we'll give the project a name. It is okay to use spaces when we give a project a name. I usually try to avoid hyphens and crazy symbols like that. I'll call this First Program. There's a default location on the hard drive. If you want to go somewhere else, you could pick another folder, maybe the desktop. That's up to you. And we'll go ahead and create. And here's Visual Studio. So we got three main parts right now to see: this design area, the Solution Explorer, and the Properties window. Right now we've got one object or one control. It is a form, and it's called Form 1. The name of it, as you see, is Form 1. All these properties right now are arranged alphabetically. That's how I like them. Probably that's how yours appear. If they look like this by category, you can leave them that way if you want, but I'm going to show things with categories arranged alphabetically, mostly because that's how I learned how to program in Visual Studio. We're going to need to leave the name alone, but change the text. That will change the caption at the top. I'll put First Program. You can put whatever you want. And notice that the caption at the top of this form now says First Program. That's the text property. The name is still the same. The name of this object is Form 1. It's almost like we gave you a different shirt to wear. You're still you, but something else looks different. The toolbox is over there on the left. I've got my cursor arrow over there on Toolbox. I click on it. We want to get a label. At first, yours probably looks like this with a lot of things collapsed. You can press some of these tabs. We're looking for a label. There it is among all the Windows form things. You can also search for it up there and find a label that way. I'm going to double click on a label to get one on the form. Then I'm just going to pull away and click on the form, and the toolbox goes back to the left. If I need it again, I can click on it, pull away, click back on the form. Now, I'll slide this label over a little bit. You can move it however you like. Just let you know this: if you accidentally X out of the toolbox and close it so it's gone, you don't see it on the left, go up to View, and Toolbox is inside View, and you can bring it back. It's there. All right, we've got this label. That's another object or another control, and its properties are over on the right-hand side. So make sure that your label is what's selected and not the form. It says label. We're going to change its name, lowercase LBL. You need to start with those three lowercase letters for a label. And then the next letter is going to be uppercase. I'll call it LBL message, so the M is uppercase. Makes it very easy to read what it is. If I needed more words, that's okay. We would use what we call intercap or camel case. If it was LBL message for you, I'd capitalize the first letter of each word, but no spaces on the names of objects. So I'm going to call mine LBL message. You can call yours whatever you want. So again, that's the label being selected right now. You can change its font. You click on those three dots over in the font property, and here comes a whole bunch of things that you can do to change the font to whatever you like. It's very small right now, so you're definitely going to want to make it a little bigger. There's a lot of choices here. Some of them actually don't work. Sorry about that. But now it's much easier to see where label 1 is and move it where we want. And again, if you're on the form, you want to click once on the label to end up on the label. Let's change the text to Hello World. The first program we write in any language is always to make something say Hello World. We got a nice big font size so it's easy to see. That's the label. It says Hello World. If I click once on the form, now you see the form properties. Click once on the label, now you see the label properties. So there's the form properties, there's the label properties. So if you got messed up and you accidentally changed the properties of the form, you want to take care of that. And then if you accidentally double click on the form, you'll end up in the code. Don't worry, that's okay. We'll get there eventually. You can use these tabs to go back and forth between the design and the code. You can also go up to View to go back and forth between design and code. And if you end up in the code, you could double click on form1.cs in the Solution Explorer and then back at the design. Let's go up to File and Save All. Save Form 1 and Save Form 1 As are not very useful for us. We almost always need to save all. Those double discs up there are also a way to save all. And we'll press the green Start and take a look at what this program looks like now. And it's going to show us Hello World running as an exe. We can click the red X and exit the program. Let's add something to this. We're going to get a button out of the toolbox. So I went to the toolbox, I'll double click on button, and then I'll move it wherever I want to have it. You can put yours wherever you want. I can expand it. You're probably used to using those kinds of things, and these little blue laser lines help you to see where the edges of different objects are, if that helps you to line things up. The name of a button should start with lowercase btn, and then I'm going to have this end the program, so I'm calling it btn exit with a capital E. You might call it btn to end program, in which case you have two words, no spaces, and you start each word with a capital letter. Again, that's intercap or camel case. I'm going to call it btn exit. And I'll change the text to say exit. But it is pretty small. I'm going to need to go back to the font property and change that. So again, pick whatever you like. And I'm definitely going to make it a little bigger so it's easier to read. There. All right. Now let's double click on this button to take us to the code. We want to code the click event for btn exit. When users click on this, whatever is inside these braces, notice an opening brace on line 26 and an ending brace on line 28. Any code we put inside here will execute. I'm going to type this, which refers to the form, .close with a capital C. You notice that there's IntelliSense. It's trying to help us out here. We'll need parentheses and then a semicolon. You're going to type a lot of semicolons to indicate the end of a line of code. I'll save all, and now let's go to Start and run the program. And when we click on Exit, it closes things up. The program ends. So I'm going to hit Enter on line 28, and now I'm going to go up to line 27 and type 2 slashes and write a comment or some documentation. End the program. That's what this section of code does. You notice it turns green. We can type whatever we want after 2 slashes, and Visual C# does not care. It doesn't read it. So it's a great way to document or explain what it is we're doing. And in this section of code, we are ending the program with this.Close. But the documentation has no impact on the running of the program. So I'll run it again, and it works exactly the same. There's really no new code, just some documentation. Well, maybe you'd like to change some of the colors on this. We've got a label, we've got a button, and we've got a form. So let's make sure we have the form selected, and we'll go to back color, which is for background color. If we click on that, there's a little drop down, and system doesn't really give us that many choices, but web and custom do. So go ahead and pick another color for your form. It does not need to match mine. I'll pick some shade of green. Notice that the label has also inherited that same back color. So if you'd like something different, we'll click once on the label. Notice that in the properties it says LBL message, and we'll change its back color to something else. I'll make it a slightly darker shade of green. Of course, you can make it whatever you want as long as we can read things. And truthfully, it's pretty hard to read this dark text on the dark background color. So I'm going to go to foreground color or forecolor. It's right underneath font, and I'll pick something lighter here. I'll go with white. And that'll make it very easy to read Hello World inside that. And now we can run the program. Click the Exit button, and we've written code for that. The program ends. Congratulations, you've written your first program, Hello World.